Okay, awesome. Now we're going to make some calls. Wow, we finally got there, MJ, in the Ultimate Leadership course. Fantastic. But we're actually going to make the call now. And the call, you want to be very relaxed about the call. You want to have fun when you're making the call. And you want to be incredibly supportive of your distributor, your rep, or your consultant while you're making the calls in whatever form. Now, by the way, you have to insert here in the process whatever your leaders, whatever your upline is teaching you to do, whatever your first step in the business. So the things that I know in working with many of you as my clients, you may have a video that you need somebody to see. You may need an actual physical appointment to go see the person with your rep, consultant, or distributor. You may invite them to a webinar or a conference call. You may invite them to a home meeting, a home party. You may be inviting them to some kind of a hotel meeting. There are many different ways that your company suggests that you introduce the product to them, whether it be online, whether it be in person by putting a video in and showing them, by inviting them to a party to come and hang out and to experience the products. Whatever it is, this is up to you to put that piece in here. What I'm going to do is show you how you as the sponsor can get access to the list, let's continue with Bob, access to Bob's list, get into a conversation with 25 of Bob's people and take them to the next step, whether that's they watch a video, whether you and Bob go and see them, whether they get invited to a place to come and hear more about the business, whatever it is. I'm not going to mess with your process. You have your process. And by the way, trust your leaders because I'm sure that that process will work. Now, when you're getting ready to make the call, what you need to do is you need to have an introduction, and you need to probably write this introduction down and email it or have it in writing for your distributor, your rep, or your consultant. And here's what the introduction sounds like. You explain to Bob, again, let's talk to Bob, let's deal with Bob. You say to Bob, here's what we're going to do, Bob. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. It's Wednesday night. We're going to make calls for an hour. I have your list in front of me. You have your list. Let's imagine that we're doing this on the phone. Bob, what I want you to understand is that all you have to do is to dial up these folks. We're going to punch the buttons on a phone, and you're simply going to introduce me, and then I'm going to do all the heavy lifting. I'm going to do all the work. Your job is to give me an introduction. My job is to get them to the next step. That's all we have to do. So I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the list, and I see that you put your brother on the list. Your brother Alan is on the list. There he is. And tell me a little bit about Alan. Okay, well, Alan is, he's a tree cutter, he's an arborist, he's worked in that business for years, he has no residual income. If he cuts a tree, he makes money, and so on and so forth. And Bob says to you, actually, I think my brother actually would probably be pretty interested in this business. I think that he will. You say, great. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a three-way call to Alan, and I simply want you to introduce me. And here's what I want you to say, Bob. I want you to say, hi, Alan. This is your brother, Bob, calling. Hey, do you have 30 seconds or 60 seconds to talk about something pretty important? Now, it's important to put in the introduction that Bob should say something like, hi, Mom, this is Bob. Do you have a minute or two to talk about something important? Why do we have that as the beginning of the introduction? Remember, Bob is calling 25 of his closest friends, people that he has relationships with. Those people expect Bob to call up and say, hi, how you doing? What's new? How are the kids? How's work? Are we going to go canoeing this weekend? Hey, did you see the game last night? We need Bob to shift the conversation immediately with his closest friends, relatives, neighbors, and work associates to help them understand that he's calling with a purpose. We absolutely do not want to be in a position where Bob calls his best friend up, they're talking for 5 minutes about last night's playoff game, And then Bob says, oh, by the way, I have my friend MJ on the line. He wants to talk to you about a business. So we want to start it off right, and we want to teach Bob or Sharon to say, hi, this is me, Bob. Do you have a minute or two to talk about something important? Now, this immediately, the person that we're calling, the antenna will be raised, and there's two things that we want to accomplish here. Number one, again, like we said, we want to make sure they understand that this is different. This is just not a hi, how are you call. In addition, we want that person to absolutely tell us that they have a minute or two. We don't want to be trying to make this call while they're running a piece of machinery in their shop, while they're holding a screaming baby, while they're trying to run out the door to get to their kid's dance recital. So we definitely want to say to the person, we definitely want to say to them, hi, mom, dad, brother, best friend, work associate, this is Bob. Do you have a minute to talk about something that's kind of important? And that will stop the person in their tracks, and it will pique their interest. By the way, it's good because it'll pique their interest. And if they say, yes, I do, what's up, Bob? Bob now says, hey, Dad, the reason I'm calling you is because I just got into a new business. I'm really excited about the money-making potential in this business. I'm really turned on by it. I think there's going to be a great way for me to make some money, and I wanted to tell you about it, but I'm brand new at it, and I don't know anything about it. So I've got a good friend of mine on the line. MJ is on the line with me right now. He's very successful in this business. He's what we call an executive director in our company. And MJ, say hi to my dad, Tom. Hi, Tom. How are you? This is MJ. Hey, I've been working with Bob. Really enjoyed working with him. Great guy. Let me tell you why we're calling. And now you are on. Now, you know what to say. You know what your next step is. You know if you need to make an introduction to the product or service and then get them to watch a video. You know if you need to book an appointment with you and Bob to go over to Bob's father's house and talk to him. I'm going to leave that step up to you. And as I've talked to so many of you, you tell me that you believe in the product, you believe in the company, you understand how to introduce the business to people, and I'm going to let you roll with that part of it. And because you know what you're doing, you're good at doing it, you're going to get them to that next step, to watch that video, to attend the presentation, to allow you and Bob to come over and see them. That's up to you. And by the way, remember, what's just happened is Bob gave you access to that person. They introduced you, and then you now are going to be making the, if you will, presentation to get the appointment or to get to the next step. And because they have introduced you as a third party, you have credibility. You have the credibility to be able to pull this off. Bob introduces you. But now, by the way, if Bob is on the line, I simply want Bob to be supportive. I want you to tell Bob, Bob, let me handle most of the conversation. However, you can do things like, you can say, yep, I agree. Yep, MJ's right. Yes, Dad, I'm on the product. It's been really great. I've noticed a difference. I have more energy. I'm losing weight. This and that, whatever it is, you can absolutely have that person, kind of affirm. If you were to do it in person, let's assume that Bob was in person with you, and you were talking to Bob's dad, Tom. You would tell Bob, what you would tell Bob to do is, as I'm explaining the business to your father, I just want you to be like a bobblehead, Bob. I just want you, have you ever seen one of those little bobbleheads where they just, as you get them going and the head's just, you say to, I just want you, Bob, to just sit there and just keep nodding and just keep saying, yep, whatever MJ says. Yep, what MJ, yeah, we can make $2,000 a month. MJ's going to help me make $2,000 a month. Yep, I'm going to put the kids in that private school I want. Yep, MJ's, yep, my sponsor is good. Yep, whatever he says, I'm doing it. Yep, I'm going to the Saturday training. Yep, I'm going to sponsor some people. Yes, I'm going to become an executive director, regional vice president, and national vice president. Yep. And You simply want Bob to give you the affirmation, the seal of approval, but you tell Bob, let me do 95% of the talking, you just agree with me. This is very helpful either on the phone or in person for the person that Bob introduced you to see Bob agreeing and excited. I don't want Bob talking a lot. Bob will screw it up. Bob will talk too much. He'll say the wrong things to his mother, his brother, his best friend, or his work associate. Absolutely, he will mess that up. Once you can get access to these people, and again, I've talked to so many of you, if you could just get that person on the phone, or you could get in front of them at a party, or a one-on-one, or an appointment, or whatever is suggested, once Bob makes that introduction, then you're ready to go. Let's go through it again. Number one, Bob, oh, by the way, let's talk about voicemail. And again, let's talk about the grunt work of doing this. If you're going to make an hour of calls, now I have tested this program and I have done it with people, and I'm going to tell you what happens. The grunt work that's involved, because I've made these calls, and let me tell you what you get. You get people that answer the phone and they're too busy. They're driving in their car. They can't talk to you. You get voicemail. You have to, but if you're going to leave a message, here's what you tell Bob to say. Bob says to his work associate, Frank, "Hi Frank, this is Bob. I've got a question for you. Give me a call when you get a chance." That's it. Nothing about a business, nothing about you being on the phone, nothing like that. So you got to coach Bob. Here's what the introduction looks like. I want you to read it right off of the email that I sent you. If you get a voicemail, you're going to say, "Hi, this is Bob. I've got a question for you. Give me a call back." If the person says they're too busy, they're in the middle of something, you say, "Great, I've got something important to talk with you about, but I'm going to call you back. When can I call you back? 10 minutes, an hour, or sometime this evening?" You want to absolutely train them to only talk to people that are ready, that have a few minutes to talk about something important. Voicemails, they leave that message. Busy signals, I guess sometimes you get busy signals. Sometimes calls get dropped. Look, there's no doubt that the method that I am teaching you is extremely, there's a lot of, you're really back in the trenches with this method. You're totally back in the trenches. You're making an hour's worth of calls. You might only be able to reach 3 or 4 people in the course of an hour or an hour and a half. That's life. That's life in the relationship marketing business. But again, let's look at the benefits. Let's look at the benefits. If you can sponsor a person for Bob, and you can, let's say you sponsor Sue for Bob, and if you, let's say this is you here, let's say that you can come down after you sponsor Sue, and you can do the same thing with Sue, and you can sponsor a couple of people for Sue. Again, Sue gives you the blood oath, she makes the handwritten list, you set up the 3-way call, and you make 25 calls for Sue, and you get into her 25 people in her warm market. If you can talk to 25 people, will you sponsor some people for Sue? Yes or yes? You will. And at the same time, if you sponsor another person for Bob over here, let's call this person Ashley, you sponsor Ashley for Bob, and you do the same thing over here with Ashley, you sponsor her 1 or 2, what has happened to Bob? Is Bob going anywhere? Is Bob quitting? Bob has hope. Bob has excitement. By the way, if Bob leaves the business, you still have Ashley and Sue and whatever else you've built under here, all that volume moves up to you. I've seen people get some fantastic regional vice presidents, national vice presidents, executive coordinators, regional directors, whatever you call it, have come out of building like this. And Bob leaves the business for any of 1,000 reasons. That business moves up to you and you still have something to show for it. Remember, you build leaders, you don't find them. And again, I'm going to guarantee you that this process is going to take a lot of work. But if you could do it with 3 people per month, and if you could get them to that level to where they were doing that $5,000 to $8,000 in volume, would it be beneficial to you to do it month after month after month with at least 3 people. It totally would. It's going to take you some time. You're going to be back in the trenches. You're going to be making a lot of calls. You're going to be dealing with voicemails and people that are dodging your calls. You're going to be back in it again. But isn't that a great thing to continually be in front of new people about the great business and the opportunity that you have? Now, a point of order. When you go to make the 3-way call, I have found this to be a very, very effective way to make it. If you are talking with Bob, and Bob has his list, and Bob has given you the list of the 25 people, and you're looking at the list, here's what I would suggest that you do. You explain to Bob the intro that he's going to give, and then what you do is you use your phone to put Bob on hold and then add a call. Now, what I find is a lot of people don't know how to add calls, and they don't know how to do 3-way calls because they've never been introduced to this. They don't know how to do it. So before you go to make these calls, first of all, you want to know how to make a 3-way call on your phone. I'm sure that you do, but if you don't, you need to know that in advance. A lot of times when I've done this with distributors that I've trained in the field, they'll ask their person, they'll ask Bob to make the 3-way call, and Bob will say, I'm telling you, I've seen it 7 times out of 10, I don't know how to add a call with my phone. So here's what I want you to do. You're the sponsor. I want you to take control of that. You're looking at the list of the 25 people. You say to Bob, Alan, tell me about Alan. He's a tree cutter. He's a great person to call. Let's give your brother Alan a call. And what you do is you put Bob on hold, you dial Alan's number, and then you 3-way Alan in. As you're hearing the phone ringing, you say, Bob, are you there? Bob says yes. Say, great. As the phone's ringing, just say, hi, this is Bob. You remind him, just say, hi, this is Bob. Do you have a minute to talk about something important? Just review the introduction. Then Alan comes on the phone. Bob says, hi, Alan, do you have a minute to talk about something important? Yes, I do. What's up? What's up, bro? What's going on? What's with all the intensity? Hey, listen, I got into a new business. I don't know a lot of the details about it, but I think there's some great income potential. Do not teach them to say the word opportunity. Opportunity signals network marketing. So you say, it's got great income potential. I'm excited about it. I've actually found a way to make money in a down economy, to actually make money quickly in a down economy, but I don't know a lot about it. But I have my friend MJ on the line. He happens to be an executive director. He happens to be a star diamond. He happens to be a regional vice president in our company, and I wanted him to tell you a little bit about it. Hey MJ, this is my brother Alan. Say hi to my brother Alan. Hi Alan, this is MJ. Hey, let me tell you why Bob wanted me to talk to you. Let me tell you what Bob and I are doing. We're starting to build a business. The business is around health. It's around finances. It's around travel. It's around helping people have more energy. It's around whatever. And let me tell you about it, and let's get you to watch our video. Let's set up an appointment to get together. Let's go to the next step. This process will absolutely work for you if you will follow it to the letter. I have had people start building huge organizations. Remember, the person who taught it to me was making $80,000 a month and had sponsored about 25 regional vice presidents in their company. Absolutely phenomenal method. It's going to take a lot of work to be a leader. It's going to take a lot of grunt work. But imagine if you can build 3 of these people every month in the course of a month, the benefits to you and to them. You'll help a lot of people. I hope this video course has been helpful to you. I hope this course has been helpful to you. I sure have enjoyed giving you this information. Dream big and succeed. See you next time.